You never see people with Down syndrome smoking cigarettes.
Everyone will eventually find out what happens after death.
Hundreds of languages use different alphabets and symbols, but we all use the same numbers. Except for movie sequels, they use the numbers from a long-dead language just for fun.
Women never get to experience being right next to another stranger in public like men do.
Anything can be a percussion instrument if you hit it hard enough.
Nowadays, if you suddenly become overly polite, you just sound sarcastic.
There are no brown light sources.
Us reminiscing about the 2000s and the 2020s is the same as when our parents reminisced about the 80s and the 2000s.
Every bad person was once innocent.
No one has explained how paper beats rock in rock, paper, scissor. We just take for granted that paper wrapping around rock doesn't make rock stronger.
Given the amount of fights in space in Star Wars and Star Trek, you rarely ever see them use seatbelts.
We're impressed when we hear of a band from the 80s or 90s still touring or making new albums, but if someone at work says they have 30 years of experience, it's just par for the course.
The most common thing people lie about is that they're not lying.
It's weird watching your parents sleep compared to watching your child sleep.
The whole world is bipolar.
Learning the difference between dark and milk chocolate through personal experience is a formative childhood learning moment.
Cemeteries are landfills for people.
Eve is a trans clone of Adam.
Some of the longest living things on the planet are some of the slowest living things. It seems the secret to long life is to do as little as possible.
Now for a quick break. Stay tuned for more shower thoughts. Being the big spoon when you're much shorter than your partner feels like you're having a piggyback ride.
When a toddler falls, it's usually not the end of their world. But when a senior falls, it usually is.
Some people try to make themselves look clever by belittling others, but in doing so only make themselves look stupid.
You know how you sometimes listen to songs in your head when they get stuck there? It feels weird when you hear it, but you know you aren't hearing it.
The tortoise in the Tootsie Roll commercial is implied to be not only physically slow, but also mentally slow as he does not know the answer.
The guy who invented the glory hole must have gotten beaten up a lot before he found one that worked.
India has about the same population as the entirety of the African continent.
Each of us has a timer that kills us when it expires, but resets when we breathe.
People who claim they don't want to be that guy are squirming with joy at being that guy.
Purple is closer to blue than red. I'm Montgomery Jones.
And I'm Amalia Dupre. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll be back tomorrow with more mind-bending shower thoughts. Goodbye for now. If you liked this podcast, check out our other podcast, Daily Dad Jokes. It'll make you laugh and groan. Just search for Daily Dad Jokes in your podcast app or check the show notes page for links. This podcast was produced by Klassic Studios. Please see the show notes page for source credits.